Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. It was a beautiful beach day here in the Tampa area. And now time for Friday night college football. The undefeated Memphis Tigers on the road to take on the Bulls of South Florida. Hi, everybody. Dave Fleming along with Mac Brown. Allison Williams is with us as well. Coach, the American Conference, this is a league game, and this league is off to a great start this year. And I think unquestionably the 4-0 Memphis Tigers are a contender in what promises to be a very competitive league.
Well, and the win last night of Cincinnati over Miami makes this game even bigger for Memphis because they're for real. And if they're going to represent that group of five at the end of the year or maybe get in the playoffs, they can't mess up tonight. They've got a week off, and then they host Ole Miss. So they got 3 big weeks ahead.
So those are big dreams, but the Tigers are set up to have a special season, and a big reason why is their quarterback. Paxton Lynch has become one of the top quarterbacks in all of college football.
Yes, he's somebody that everybody's talking about right now, Dave, and he's 6'7". He can run. He can throw. He's a guy that's gotten a lot better presence in the pocket the last couple of years. They've simplified the offense for him. But now he's got the big arm to go deep. He's got the ability to move right or left and throw with boots and nakeds. And he can also tuck it and run it in for the touchdown. So for South Florida to have a chance to win tonight, they're going to have to try to keep him from running all over the place.
So there is Paxton Lynch. You mentioned the height, 6'7". He's an incredible overall athlete. And look at the numbers, 73.5% completion rate through 4 games, 1,230 yards. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's doing it with his legs. So Paxton Lynch has truly become a superstar for a resurgent Memphis program that just a few years ago was in very bad shape. And now the Tigers are feeling like they got a chance to crash those New Year's Bowl games, and maybe even with that big non-conference game coming up in a couple weeks that you mentioned, maybe even an outside chance to run the table and make an argument for the playoff. That would have been unheard of even just a couple years ago, but this program is flying high at the moment.
Yes, he's a guy that you can't make one-dimensional anymore because he can run it and he can throw it. So we'll get to see him first.
Now there's the head coach, Justin Fuente, his 4th year in charge of Memphis, and he has rebuilt this program. South Florida trying to make their way back into the upper echelon as well. They won the toss. They defer, so they kick off. And it is a touchback. For more on the quarterback as he makes his way onto the field, here's Allison Williams.
Yeah, Paxton Lynch back in his home state. He played high school at Trinity Christian Academy across the state in Deltona, Florida. Now, between an injury his senior year and the type of offense that they ran, he really wasn't recruited in high school. Some teams came in late, but Memphis was his first offer. He's a loyal guy, so he's stuck with the Tigers. And you can imagine he is excited to be back here in Florida playing in front of friends and family. About 40 people in attendance to watch him. And guys, if he plays anything like he did last time he was in Florida, it should be fun. Dave, we had that game against BYU, the Miami Beach Bowl, threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for 3.
Yeah, he was tremendous in that bowl game, and his first pass is caught by Mose Frazier. Memphis does like to go up-tempo as they get the offense rolling.
Great start, and they're already lined up again to go fast.
Lynch with that quick hitter out into the right flat. And that goes for a nice gain all the way out to the 45-yard line. This time Phil Mayhew. So we'll talk a lot about number 12, Paxton Lynch, back in his home state with the big numbers. You saw those high school numbers, and they were very modest. He played in a wing T offense. We talked to his high school head coach, Alan Johnson, about that. First run play for Memphis, and South Florida ready for that one. Sam Kraft stopped short of the first down.
The Memphis offensive staff has done a tremendous job of bringing him along, and as Paxton's gotten more confident, they've cut back on the offense.
So quickly to the line again. Almost every play will be out of the shotgun on 3rd and short. The handoff to Kraft, and he got close, but I'm not sure. And now the officials say he did get there. That'll be a Memphis first down, not by much.
Well, they simplified the offense so he could be more confident, have a better presence in the pocket where he can stand, but also use his ability to run more.
Simplified it and made it even better. They put up a lot of points last year. They're ahead of their pace this season.
Here they're using motion to see if it's man or zone. Then they change the play from the sideline.
Now Frazier will come in motion. They'll fake the fly sweep action to him. Give it to the tailback, who is stuffed. Drop for a loss of a yard or so. Our impact players, Coach, when Memphis has the ball.
When Memphis has got the ball, Sam Kraft is a guy that was an outstanding basketball player in high school, tremendous recruit. He has to have a good night to help keep the pressure off Paxton.
So second down and 11. First drive of the game. Memphis getting near midfield, and that pass a little high, incomplete with the hit coming low, intended for Tevin Jones to set up third and long. Dietrich Nichols with the coverage and the hit.
Big third down. Got to be smart. Take care of the ball early. He hasn't thrown a pick yet. Let's see if they go screen draw.
And I do think South Florida, they've been an inconsistent team so far this year. This is the best defense that Memphis has faced thus far. They got a lot of talent on this side of the ball. The Bulls do.
Yes, it looks like they're going to bring four and defend with a two-deep coverage.
With the four-man rush, Lynch now pressured and incomplete. Tried to dump it off to Kraft. He's arguing for a penalty flag, but no flag thrown. It's fourth down, and Memphis will have to punt the ball away.
It's a very good stop for South Florida, because for them to win this ball game, they're going to have some stops on defense and keep the ball on offense. Now they need a long, deliberate drive. They're not going to go as fast with their offense as Memphis.
The angled punt from Spencer Smith will take a bounce inside the 10, inside the 5, and it's going to come to a rest at about that 5-yard line. So excellent execution by Spencer Smith, and the Memphis special teams 49 yards with no return. And now the Bulls offense, which has been a struggling offense in their first 3 games, and their sophomore quarterback Quentin Flowers onto the field.
Well, Quentin has to do a good job tonight of running the football, and he'll have to act like a running back some, but he's also got to throw the ball better, because if you're Memphis, you're going to stop the running backs, because for South Florida to win the game tonight, it has to be because of plays made out of their backfield.
Well, they do have a really talented sophomore running back, Marlon Mack, number 5, who's on the right side of Flowers. Out of the shotgun, they will give it to Mack, straight ahead running, and Marlon Mack already breaking tackles. Gets out to the 11-yard line, and Coach, he is one of our impact players when South Florida has the ball.
Had 1,041 yards last year. He's one of the best runners in their history, and they've got Leonard Pegues has got to step up at middle linebacker for Memphis to try to slow Marlon Mack down.
As good as the Memphis offense has been, the Memphis defense has not been great. They'll pitch it, and that may count as a forward pass to Chris Barr, who tries to dive forward and get the first down. Depends on the spot, but I think he got there to the 15. It's 1st and 10 South Florida.
It counts as a forward pass, but it's really a run. So you can see what the game plan's going to be. The offenses are very similar, but they're going to run the football, try to slow the game down and stay on the field.
And that guy, number 1, Chris Barr, is a true freshman, getting more and more playing time. He went to the same high school as Paxton Lynch across the state in the Jacksonville area. Trinity Christian Academy. Here's Mack out into the open for a gain of 13 on first down. Marlon Mack, a little slow getting to the sideline. He is a really good running back.
Yes, he's one of the best running backs in the history of this young program, and also one of the best players in this league.
He was the freshman of the year in the American last year, true sophomore. And one of his backups, he'll use 3 different running backs. Darius Tice, without a lot of room, gets a couple yards on first down.
The Memphis front seven's really tough. That's why it's a little bit surprising that they're able to come out and run the ball this well on the first drive.
So it may not be an injury, it may just be a cleat problem for Marlon Mack. Trying to get the shoe tied and back on. Almost a pistol set. They hand it to Tice. Big hole up the middle, first down. Out to the 41-yard line. The Bulls, who started at their 5, are on the move.
Well, this is a power play. It's off to the right, pulling the backside guard, and when you start well,
another quick snap using that tempo, and another handoff for Tice out to midfield. That's nearly 9 on first down. They are moving the ball on the ground.
Well, they are. Willie Taggart said he went home Sunday with an open date and talked to his mom. She says, "Why aren't you running that power play?" So I think these moms know what they're doing. So Willie listened.
Okay, good call, Mom. They do have I think the strength of the South Florida team is their stable of running backs. They got 3 really good ones. Tice makes a man miss and gets the first down. Well, that's a pretty impressive 2-yard run across midfield. into Memphis territory. Total offense percentage for South Florida, they lean on the ground game.
Well, and so far this first drive's working exactly like Coach Taggart wants it to. 65% run. At some point, you'll see Memphis start bringing more guys to the line of scrimmage, lowering those safeties, and trying to make Quentin Flowers beat him with a pass.
Well, Marlon Mack is back in the game. They got the shoe fixed. 7 plays, 4 first downs for the Bulls, and across midfield on the move. Still early in this game, scoreless. Mack gets the handoff here, and another nice hole. Man, there's nothing nuanced here. Now a flag thrown late in that play. In fact, 2 of them. As Mack took a hit at the end of the run, right around a 10-yard carry. We'll see what the penalty is. Todd LaPenta, part of this crew in the American Athletic Conference.
Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 27, using the crown of the helmet. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down, official timeout, the play is under further review.
Well, automatically every targeting penalty gets reviewed upstairs. Paul Zukas is the replay official tonight, and it's Dion Whitty, the senior safety, number 27. We'll see if we can spot him. Yeah, I think that's Dion. And let's see. Well, using the crown of the helmet.
Yes, they're not going to let you come in late and put a young man's future in jeopardy here. They do not want you leading with the point of that helmet, the crown of the helmet. It's a very dangerous play.
Yeah, and I think that's the distinction with the targeting rule, in that you can have a hit above the shoulder level in any form if the player is in a defenseless position. But that qualifier is not there if you use the crown of the helmet, and that's where that kind of hit will often be called targeting. I mean, it wasn't as vicious as some that we see, but he used the crown of the helmet to put the hit on. It doesn't matter what part of the body you hit. If you lead with the crown of the helmet, that by definition is supposed to be targeting.
Well, and you really hate it for Whitty, because here he is, he's hustling, he's trying to be physical. They're letting South Florida run the ball too well on them early, but you've got to go by the rules.
After further review, the ruling of targeting is confirmed. Number 20 has been disqualified from the game. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So that's a blow for Memphis in their secondary. Dion Whitty will sit out the rest of this game. He is out. It's a 15-yard penalty. And South Florida moves the ball even deeper into Memphis territory. So Justin Fuente with a concern early in this game. He loses one of his better defensive players.
And there was a concern about a little bit of a letdown tonight, because Memphis had such an outstanding game, one of the biggest games in school history against Cincinnati last week. It came right down to the end, and they've started slow on defense, so they need to pick it up here.
Well, they started at the 5-yard line. They've already gone 71 yards on this drive. And looking for more. South Florida with penalty flags thrown. That is going to go against the offense.
Snap infraction. Offense. Number 66. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, Gunmanson's a new center, and he's been he's a graduate. He's been a guard. He's been a tackle. But with all the slant and angle, the different looks that Memphis has given them, we thought it might bother him some, and he flinched a little bit. They can't afford these penalties in the middle of such a great drive.
Yeah, I think you said the key. Brynjar Gunmanson, who's an experienced player. He's played a lot, but not at center until this year. Flowers looking to throw downfield, wide open, and the pass is caught inside the 10, still going inside the 5. The tight end, one of the captains of this team, Sean Price. It's first and goal for South Florida.
When you can run the ball, it opens up the play action pass. And all the linebackers stepped up. There was a hole in there from the safeties, and Sean Price, who's on the Mackey watch list, catches it and runs it. Great run after the catch down to the goal line. A lot of momentum now for South Florida.
Yeah, they had that little pitch play early in the drive. That's the first true drop back pass play, and it was a good one. Now Marlon Pope, the tight end, trying to get lined up properly. On first and goal, they hand it off. Tice cuts middle and is stopped short of the goal line. Tackled at the 1 by Chris Morley, who's one of those players who will try to help fill the void of Dion Whitty. Well, the Bulls want to go quickly here on second and goal. They get set. Flowers takes the snap. Tice stuffed again. And I think he lost a yard or so. Back around the 2. Maybe they'll give him some forward progress near the original line of scrimmage.
And if you're South Florida here, you don't want to come away with 3 points. You need to get a touchdown to give your team confidence after the tough game they had last week at Maryland.
So Willie Taggart, you wonder whether he's thinking about 2 more tries for the end zone here on 3rd and goal.
You're playing against a very high-scoring Memphis team averaging about 53 points a game. So you're going to need touchdowns, not field goals.
I think that's a good point. But still Tice, not Mack, in the backfield. In motion, the fake on the fly sweep. Tice straight ahead, end zone, touchdown. What a start for the South Florida offense from the 5 into the end zone, 95 yards with the extra point coming. "12 plays, better than 5 minutes. Their longest drive by yardage of the year. Emilio Nadelman, who has been perfect, 10 for 10 on extra points this season. And there was movement before the snap. Avery came across, but South Florida might have jumped.
Offside. Defense. Number 6. After this is the goal, repeat the try.
Game couldn't have started any better for South Florida. Willie Taggart wanted to run the ball more. He wanted his backs to win this game. He wanted to have long, consistent drives. He wanted to stay on the field and get points. All of that happened in his first series.
Kick is up and good. And Max said it, South Florida, what a start. The Bulls with a 7-0 lead against undefeated Memphis. ESPN from Tampa, Raymond James Stadium, the home of the NFL's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The East Division of this American, what is really a spirited conference. Temple with the conference win so far. South Florida along with those other teams, including Cincinnati. We saw them beat Miami last night, even though they're 0-2 in league. Navy already off to a 2-0 start in the American. Memphis undefeated overall, 1-0 in league. Houston's been good. Tulsa's been impressive. SMU has improved. Mac, you and I talked about it right from the start. It's been an exciting year for the American with still more big non-conference opportunities to come in the month of October and November.
It is. There's some really good teams in this league, and it's going to be fun to watch it play out.
So the kickoff deep, and it'll be taken to the end zone. Jalen Oglesby returns, and he gets tackled almost by the jersey, stays on balance, stays on his feet, out to the 35-yard line. Impressive return for Oglesby. So Memphis will have pretty good field position for its second drive of the night.
Oglesby's he's really a special player. He signed with Clemson. He went to Fort Union. They've gotten him out of Fort Union. Clemson doesn't have slow receivers, so he's got really good vision here, but look at the power. Keeps his feet, turns up. Tough young man, just a freshman, but really dynamic speed.
Yeah, we may well see him a little more involved in the pass game as well tonight. Lynch keeps it for the first time. Took a pretty hard hit after a 3-yard gain by Deadrin Sanat, who is a big kid in the middle. Sanat is one of their best players on defense.
Every coach on the Memphis staff talked about Sanat and how hard he was to block up inside. So they were going to try to get plays sideline to sideline. Stay away from him.
Just a sophomore. Lynch in the pocket, throws. A lot of zip on that pass. Right on target, complete, but the good open field tackle short of the first down. That was Roderick Proctor with the catch. So it's 3rd down and short for Memphis.
Memphis has got a lot of speed. They play a lot of players. Proctor's a sophomore, but all these guys can run, and that's why South Florida has to be able to tackle in space tonight to win this football game.
Lynch, another keeper, and you can see that size and power. He's got speed, he's got explosion, he's 6'7", he's got the strong arm. So it's only a 3-yard run or so, but I think the tools on a run like that are very apparent for Paxton Lynch.
Well, and I think the message from Memphis is we're going to do whatever we need to do to win this football game.
Yeah.
So he is going to run the football tonight. He's like a running back in the backfield with a fast guy coming underneath to fake the speed sweep.
And he was a running back before he grew so tall. He became a quarterback in high school, moving around in the pocket. A dangerous throw, but it's caught inside the 35 and now down to about the 25. Proctor again with the reception. So Paxton Lynch into traffic, but a nice delivery.
This is what he does to beat you. There's a really good pass rush. 95% of the quarterbacks in America are sacked right there. He ends up turning it into a big first down and momentum for Memphis.
28-yard gain. Memphis has had to play from behind. They're 4-0. They put up a huge number of points and yards, but in just about every game, they've had to come from behind. That throw down the sideline, it was right there, incomplete, intended for Frazier. There was tight coverage from Nichols. But the comebacks that we are speaking of for Memphis, and they're comfortable in this position. A lot of confidence in their offense. Against Kansas, trailed by 10, won by 32. Down at Bowling Green, a very good team, won a close game. Down against Cincinnati, won that game with all kinds of offense on both sides. Lynch, handoff, pushed out of bounds. That's Anthony Miller, who is a wide receiver. That fly sweep type action, jet sweep stuff that Memphis likes to use.
Hurts the eye discipline of the South Florida defense, but Memphis lost 8 starters on defense and 4 backups last year, and they've got a new defensive coordinator in Galen Scott. So they've got a lot to learn too. South Florida has 2 new coordinators.
3rd and 7 for Memphis. Lynch, option type play. He's going to keep it. Paxton Lynch just didn't have anywhere to go. Pushed backwards, hit hard, got to the 19. So he gained a few yards, but he needed more, and he gets up a little bit slowly. Tigers will bring the offense off the field and bring out their excellent place kicker.
Here's the option left. You see pretty good blocking up front. The safety comes up and turns him up inside. And when he's turned up inside, all of a sudden, all the pursuit from the backside keeps him from making the first down.
Well, Jake Elliott, who has a very powerful leg. This one 36 yards from that left side. The kick is up, and it is no good. Wide left. Well, the Bulls are pumped up, and Memphis thinking about what went wrong there. Their ultra-reliable kicker misses just left, and South Florida lead is still 7-0. Full here in the Tampa area. That's Hogan's Beach. The South Florida Bulls with a 7-0 lead. Great start for them. 4:15 still to go in the first quarter. So a nice setting outside. Beautiful setting here inside the NFL stadium that the Bulls share with the Bucks. And Quentin Flowers and the South Florida offense back on the field. Marlon Mack with the first down carry for a yard. 10 rushing plays on South Florida's first drive of the game, so they want to keep the ball on the ground.
They had an open date so they could change their game plan, change their thoughts. They self-scouted the first 4 games. So Memphis is seeing a different South Florida team.
2nd down and 9. Tight end in motion. Another handoff to Mack. Those legs keep moving, but a little tougher to find the extra yards so far. Now 2 flags thrown at the end of that play. Ricky Hunter in on the stop. Bulls are pointing in the direction of Memphis.
Personal foul. Defense. Number 98. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Now Jared Gentry, a true freshman, big kid. Called for a personal foul.
Ricky Huntley's trying to help him there a little bit. Tell that freshman, keep your hands to yourself. Make the tackle. Good play. Ricky Huntley, one of the great players. If those kids played like he does, they're going to have a good night on defense. But you can already see that Memphis is making adjustments to get closer to the line of scrimmage to try to stop the run.
So that penalty moves the ball. It was going to be 3rd and long. First down out near the 40. And another play where they get Mack out in space. There goes Marlon Mack, tripped up inside the 35 down to about the 32-yard line. You saw the burst from the sophomore, number 5.
He is really a good football player. It's a speed sweep. Good kick out. He turns up inside and outruns a lot of players. When you start looking at the guy, Leonard Pegues is a senior that saves that touchdown play.
This time a fake, and Flowers is tackled right around the line of scrimmage. Let's send it down to the sideline, and Allison Williams.
USF continuing to move the ball. Offensive line coach Danny Hope has to like that. He was very pleased after the opening drive. Spent some time talking to the big guys about the slants and angles they're seeing from Memphis, something they certainly prepared for. Also pointing out that linebacker coming down as a 4 technique, and he told his guys, just keep going north. The backs are running north. We're blocking north.
Allison, that's a great report, because what Memphis is doing is they understand this is going to be a power running game and speed sweep game, not a pass game.
So we'll see if the Tigers defense can adjust. Tice gets the carry left side, so not straight up the middle. There was some room over there. He gets to the 25, 2 yards short of the first down.
Well, and Danny Hope told us that he's going to keep it simple for his offensive line because of all the slant and angles.
Quick snap on 3rd down. Close. Going to depend on the spot, and South Florida may have a decision to make. I think they've spotted him short. Needed to get to that 23-yard line, and he's not there.
Well, and Willie Taggart told us that he was going to win this game with his running backs. He's not going to be kicking field goals on 4th and 6 inches. He needs points.
Play clock starting to wind down. It's 4th and 1. You got Dearness Johnson, who's the tailback now. Kind of a high snap. They give it to Johnson, who's got the first down and more. Inside the 20. Good call, coach. South Florida against this high-powered Memphis team. They do not want to kick.
Well, and this goes back to the same power play right up the middle of the strength of the Memphis defense. Sending a good message right now, not only to his team and his defense, that this is not going to be like the Maryland game, but also to Memphis, that you know where we're coming and you got to line up and stop it. 17 rushes, 2 passes of the first 19 calls, 102 yards rushing.
Well, that is about a dream start for South Florida, but still looking for more points. With that play clock down to 5 and a bad snap. Flowers may have mishandled it himself, and he does well to get right back near that line of scrimmage. I'm not sure what happened there.
Well, and we talked about Gudmundsson with the snaps, with all the movement with the Memphis defense. He's a new center. It's been tough for him. You've got a young quarterback. Things are going so well. You can't stop yourself. Stay ahead of the chains.
Final 40 seconds or so of this first quarter. A quarter that's really been dominated by the South Florida rushing offense. Both Johnson and Marlon Mack are in the game. Mack out left almost like a slot receiver. Here comes Mack into the backfield, and they fake it to him. Flowers throws to the end zone, incomplete. Very high, intended for Chris Barr.
Again, play action pass, good protection because they're running the ball so well. But for them to win this football game with the scoring machine that Memphis is, Quentin Flowers is going to have to hit some of those plays, because that's a one-on-one shot down the middle of the field that could have been a score.
On the first drive, they had that 3rd and goal from about a yard out. This is their first real 3rd and long situation of the game.
Probably a quarterback draw or screen.
Play fake. Pressure comes. Flowers gets away. Trying to stay alive. He'll throw. It is complete along the sideline, but short of a first down inside the 15. Rodney Adams with the catch, but presumably the field goal team is going to come out, and that looks like the decision for Willie Taggart.
Yeah, it's a really good job by Quentin Flowers of not taking the sack. He either needed to throw the ball away or get it down for a shorter field goal.
Now that will be the last play of the first quarter, so a field goal try when we come back to Tampa. South Florida off to a great start. Memphis favorite on the road, undefeated team with the high-powered offense, but it's been Marlon Mack and company for the Bulls. They lead 7-0 in Tampa, South Florida, and Willie Taggart with a 7-0 lead. First play of the second quarter coming up here, and it'll be a 31-yard field goal try for Emilio Nadelman after South Florida moves the ball down the field, which was a theme of the first quarter.
Yes, they've had the ball 22 plays to 14 from Memphis, 9.5 minutes to 5.5. The game plan is working exactly like the Bulls want it to.
So here's the field goal try. Good snap, good hold, kick up, and right down the middle. Nadelman, 3 for 3 field goals so far this year. Taggart and company are happy. South Florida with the 10-0 lead.
Yes, they can't miss the field goals, and it's happening like Willie designed it and told us yesterday. We've got to look at their running backs. He said he'd use all 3 of them tonight. So you go off tackle with Tice with the power play, and all these guys are running forward. Max got the speed on the speed sweep. He outruns people and nearly scores. And then you've got Johnson, who's maybe the fastest guy of the running backs, and he's even running up inside. So that's setting up some outside speed plays and some play action passes that South Florida will be able to utilize later in the game.
Well, yeah, just a dream beginning for South Florida. A struggling team, 1-2, impressive in week 1. They went to Tallahassee for week 2 and really gave the Seminoles a battle. Ultimately fell short, but played Florida State tough. And I think a really disappointing loss in week 3 against a struggling Maryland team where they got blown out in the second half of that game. So this is sort of a bounce back game for them. They're wearing what they call the SoFlo uniforms. So they got the special Friday night uniforms, trying to play with more enthusiasm. And so far it seems to be working.
SoFlo uniforms are going fast right now, Dave, right. So they're moving.
Kickoff deep and brought back for Memphis. That's Oglesby again to the 35 to the 40. And he hurdles a tackler out near midfield. Spectacular return for Jalen Oglesby as the Memphis offense comes back out there. Saturday, tomorrow, #1 Ohio State going to be tested. Indiana's a better team this year in Bloomington. The Hoosiers are undefeated, 2 of the highest scoring teams in the nation. That one at 3:30 on ABC or ESPN2. And the other game at that time, speaking of points, Texas Tech #5 Baylor. Also streaming on Watch ESPN. You can watch them both. Watch one live on your television, put one live on Watch ESPN, and watch the points rack up on both sides. Now Memphis trying to get its offense going. Lynch with a nice play fake, and he's got an open receiver for a first down completion already into South Florida territory.
When you've got a quarterback like Paxton Lynch, you can catch up so quickly. So they have the good play action on first down. Good call by the Memphis offensive staff.
That's Sam Kraft, who is listed as a running back. He's a guy who'll do everything. He comes toward the backfield. They fake it to him, hand it off left side running, and a good tackle there for South Florida. That's Sean Hill with the tackle. Dorland Dorcius with the carry.
We see here they fake the speed sweep to the right, counter play back up inside. Good blocking, but better play by the defensive line of South Florida, which is really the strength of their defense.
8 times Memphis has run the ball so far in the first half. Longest gain, 3 yards. And that stands because they lost a half a yard there. It'll be 3rd and long.
The Memphis coaches knew they were going to have trouble blocking that front, especially with Sanat, but they also felt like they'd have to spread the field. So I think you'll see Memphis start trying to get the ball east and west.
That was Eric Lee, one of the captains for the Bulls. 3rd and 11. Lynch looking middle. Nice pass, caught, first down, and all the way down to the 20.
Huge play for Memphis. Hurts the momentum some, gives them a chance to score. They've talked about Paxton's presence in the pocket, really good protection, but he sits right in there, steps up and throws the ball to Jalen Oglesby. That young man's going to be a special player for Memphis.
Big time. We've seen him on kick returns, now in the passing game. So they needed 11 and they got 18. So far, so good for Lynch. No huge explosive plays, but he's been accurate. Lynch in the pocket over the top. He's got his man caught. Touchdown, Sam Kraft.
That was a great job by the Memphis staff of putting the fast Sam Kraft on Augie Sanchez down the middle, one-on-one. Very difficult for a linebacker to cover a fast back in space. So we see here Sam comes out of the backfield. Augie really doesn't see him. Then he can't catch up. Outstanding throw with Paxton Lynch. That's what keeps Memphis being what they are.
The quick strike capability of the Tigers. So Lynch with the touchdown delivery. Extra point coming here for Jake Elliott, who's made 108 of these in a row. And now it's 109. Well, Coach talked about it. Speed against the linebacker. Speed wins. Touchdown Tigers. It's a 10-7 South Florida lead. You see the head coach, Willie Taggart, his third year in charge of this program, talking to Augie Sanchez, his sophomore linebacker. Bulls lead 10-7. Willie Taggart has got such a close personal connection to the Harbaugh family, recruited by Jack Harbaugh, was a star at Western Kentucky, was a part of Jim Harbaugh's staff. You see Jack and Jackie, who really, I mean, Willie talks about him like they're his own mom and dad. He has become a huge part of the Harbaugh family. And I bet you they're watching tonight and proud of Willie Taggart for the success he's had and rooting for him to get this program going.
Yes, I think he's kind of like an extended family member, and Jack and Jim and John are like the first family in football right now. Done a great job.
Kickoff deep, and it'll be a touchback. South Florida will start at the 25. Another big college football Saturday ahead of us tomorrow, which means it's time to gear up for Watch ESPN. Get it downloaded. Every game is streaming live. Download the app or go to watchespn.com. We got a schedule full of big games tomorrow. And it gets started early. Texas TCU, a big one in the Big 12, and another huge game. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia. The two games later, Ole Miss and the Gators, Notre Dame and Clemson from Death Valley. See how the weather impacts that game. Marlon Mack upfield. That ground game is really rolling for South Florida, out across the 40 to about the 42-yard line.
And we talked about the Harbaughs. Jim and Jack are probably watching this game together tonight, and they're really proud of how Willie and that offensive line are pounding the football.
17 yards for Mack. He's got 77 yards on the ground already, and make it more. Nearly out to midfield, tackled at the 49.
Once again, they felt like the big offensive line with a simple scheme running the football tonight, keeping Paxton Lynch on the boundary and utilizing all three backs, and sometimes Quentin Flowers as a back would win the game.
Flowers, the quarterback, on second down, throws a pass complete. That's Adams, who turns it upfield. First down, still going, fighting his way inside the 45. Rodney Adams, the junior from St. Pete.
Trying to get Quentin Flowers some confidence with a short pass. That's like another run, but it's good for the first down.
Still that play selection. There's their fifth pass play of the first half. 20 running plays for the Bulls.
Well, and 2 of those 5 have been runs because they've pitched it. 2 of them are thrown a quick screen.
Hand off. This time nowhere to run. Ernest Johnson with the carry, got to the line of scrimmage. Well, Willie Taggart, who grew up in this area and from high school went to play for Jack Harbaugh. And then after being Jim's assistant at Stanford, came here to be the head coach back in his home area. Very passionate about football here in the Tampa-St. Pete area.
They really like Ernest Johnson, number 32, that's in there at tailback right now, because he's one of the faster tailbacks.
Well, like so many kids from the area, local kid, sort of the building block of this program. Johnson gets the touch on the outside, and he's got the speed, a little power at the end of that run. Down to the 35, and flags on both sides of the field. So one near the tackle, one a long way away from the tackle. Marlon Pope shaking his head, the tight end.
Personal foul. Offense. Number 11. Unnecessary roughness. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, watch Pope. Yeah, and I think that's a legit call.
It's just foolish. You can't block behind the play. The play's already over. You're not going to help. And they're not a team that needs to be in long yardage situations, so they can't make those kind of mistakes and win this football game.
You saw the second flag. It came from so far across the field. That's how obvious that penalty was. So that's a big one against Pope and the offense.
And Mary, he knew it too. Marlon sits there and he knew when they threw the flag what he'd done.
Yeah. Second and 20, back to midfield. Flowers in the shotgun.
Now they're checking at the line of scrimmage. They're seeing with Memphis moving around, they're trying to get in the perfect play on 2nd down and 20.
A keeper for Flowers. Flowers with that speed dives forward, and I don't know if it's the perfect play, but I think they'll take it. Gets it down inside the 40, makes it 3rd and 9.
I think what they needed in this situation was just that. Get 9 or 10 back. Let's make it where we can either go for 2 downs here on 3rd down and 9, or we can try to kick the long field goal.
So that 11-yard carry does make it 3rd and 9. 3 receivers to the left. Adams comes in motion. Flowers in the pocket. Moving, and he wants a block. He stays behind that line, almost throws an interception. The ball was tipped, and then after the tip, almost intercepted. Incomplete, 4th and 9. Arthur Mollett with the coverage.
Well, and this is a situation where if I'm Quentin Flowers, I run and I get this into a 3rd down and 4 situation, because you can kick the long field goal because their kicker is good from 55, but now you're putting yourself in a position where you have to punt. Run the ball when you're not sure about what's ahead of you. Shorten the distance, give yourself 4th down, and that's what Willie's telling him right now. Come on now.
I think
you
that's
got a chance to run for it, run for it.
I think that's the message. So now the punt. Chabadi, who is a good one, will try to pin Memphis deep. Does he do it? Yes, he does. That counts as deep. How about that? From the one, perfect execution. The Memphis offense pinned deep when we come back.
Football studios, this could be the story of the weekend. Inclement weather, specifically rain. Temple and Charlotte, that's Austin Jones, a 39-yard field goal, but Charlotte just missed a field goal. 3-0 for the Owls. Let it rain, Dave.
All right, Adnan, it's perfectly beautiful here in Tampa. 10-7 South Florida, and it's not often that I get excited about a punt. I don't love the punt game. I got excited about that one. That was as good as it gets. Look where the ball is for Memphis starting this drive right around the 1-yard line. Under center for a rare snap, Paxton Lynch.
They tried to draw South Florida off sides to get a 1st and 5. Very smart.
Play fake. Lynch from the end zone, taking a shot downfield, but double coverage incomplete. Intended for Anthony Miller. And let's send it down to Allison Williams.
Well, Tom Allen came over from Ole Miss to be the defensive coordinator here at USF. Now, the Rebels are known as the Land Sharks on defense. Here in Tampa, it's the Bull Sharks. The idea of being a fearless predator out there on defense. They've played well so far. Tom Allen addressing his defense. You see the sign there? That's for the Bull Sharks. That's what they're doing when they do that. Tom Allen happy with how his units played so far, but did remind them, eye discipline, guys.
Well, Miller gets free and out across the 15. That is such a big play for Memphis because they were pinned very deep. That's a 1st down for the Tigers, and his progress all the way out to about the 18-yard line.
And it's obvious that Memphis trusts their quarterback. They've thrown the ball twice out of the end zone. Young Anthony Miller's a guy they love. He was a walk-on. He came to their camp. They think he has a spirit and can make plays in space, and he just did that for a huge 1st down. South Florida needs to stop them here, get the short field, and put their offense in a position to score.
Memphis gets their 11th player out on the field, and then Lynch gets the receiver lined up. Lynch back to throw again. Steps up in the pocket. Shows off that big arm. Complete. Short of the 40. That's Mose Frazier, the senior from Memphis, hometown kid.
Such a great throw. Stepped up, looked to his left, looked across with his vision, and threw the ball really across his body to the right. Really strong arm out of Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, it's 10-7 South Florida, but we're seeing the skills of this star quarterback. Drive that started at the 1. Handoff, right side running. And that'll qualify as the best run of the game so far, even though it's only 5 yards. Dorland Dorcius, the sophomore, with the carry. 5 different receivers, 9 of 13, 140 yards, 41 yards, and a touchdown.
And that's his presence in the pocket, the protection up front. He's able to find the open receiver.
No interceptions tonight. No interceptions so far this year for Paxton Lynch, who's going to keep it, trying to get away from the pressure. He does, and he falls forward to get 3.5 yards or so. 3rd and short coming up for the Tigers.
What a play by the quarterback with his feet. That's a sack that puts them in a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, and now they're sitting here at 3rd and 1.5.
Yeah, kind of one of those hidden plays where it's not big yardage, it's nothing spectacular, but it totally changes the scenario here for 3rd down. Tigers so far 3 of 5 on 3rd downs. Lynch handoff with a flag throw, the tackle in the backfield, but the Bulls may have been offsides, which will negate what was a heck of a play.
Offside. Defense. Number 9. 5-yard penalty. Enforcement of this penalty resulted in a 1st down.
Well, this is another situation where all of a sudden he changes the snap count. Older quarterback, offensive line sits in there, and he pulls the Bulls offside. Huge play in this ball game. Really smart decision by the coaching staff at Memphis and an older quarterback.
Yeah, Demetrius Hill jumped at the tough part for the Bulls is he wasn't even a part of that play. Now Bulls point at the Memphis offensive line, and I think they moved, which will bring it back those 5 penalty yards, but the damage already done. That penalty made it a 1st down.
False start. Offense. Number 80. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's the tight end Daniel Montiel.
And Dave, we've got a great game going. South Florida's got to win this game to get back on track, and Memphis is trying to make it to something a lot bigger at the end of the year.
4-0 Tigers. A pitch play right side. Good pursuit by those Bull Sharks, as Allison was talking about. Nate Godwin, the safety, in on the tackle. That was Sam Kraft.
This is a pitch sweep out to the right. Really good flow by Nate Godwin. He tackles him inside out, but look at all the South Florida players that are there. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and they're chasing the ball hard.
2nd and 15. 6:40 to go, 1st half. This high-flying Memphis offense held to just 7 so far. Been a good effort by South Florida's defense. Lynch, that throw to the far sideline. Short gain. Nice tackle. Anthony Miller got 5.
Once again, he shows arm strength. It's hard to throw from one hash to the other, and he put it on a rope. And they're really going to Anthony Miller a lot here as they need to get some plays in space.
Quick tempo on 3rd and about 10. They have to get down to the Bulls' 38-yard line. Tight end Allen Cross in motion. He has not been involved in the pass game yet. He is normally one of their more reliable pass catchers. There's number 40.
Once again, changing the play because of the defensive look with South Florida.
Lynch with the keeper, and that's an interesting call on 3rd and long. Bulls were ready for it. I don't know about that one.
No, I think they probably thought they saw something, then they moved back. Didn't move, something happened, but that's not the play you'd like to have into a short field. Here's again the quarterback option left. They made him turn up inside. He's not going to pitch the ball because he ran out of room because Kraft was too close to him into the boundary.
Well, this is Nick Jacobs, only his 2nd punt of the year. He's sort of the designated short punter. Can he do his job? I would say yes. How about the punting in this game? That one down at the 4. There is a flag thrown. Typically that would be on the return team. So it could be even worse field position for South Florida. Great job by Nick Jacobs.
During the kick, holding receiving team, number 19. After this is a goal, 1st down, timeout.
So the penalty means the Bulls will be back deep when we come back to Tampa.
Brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Did you know, Mac Brown, that at Burns Steakhouse here in the Tampa Bay area, they have the largest restaurant wine cellar in the world. 500,000 bottles of wine in that one cellar. Some date back to the 1800s, the 19th century.
I was alive at that time. I think sometimes, Dave. So.
Some of your favorites
Impressive.
on the wine list.
Impressive.
Handoff from the 2-yard line, and the Bulls go nowhere. So South Florida has started to drive from their own 5, now from their own 2. We saw Memphis on their last drive start from the 1. So the punting game has been excellent on both sides. That's the left guard, one of their better offensive linemen, Thor Joswiak. And Jeremy Hall has to come in, the sophomore, for at least a play because the helmet popped off. Backup offensive lineman, this part of the field, that probably would make a head coach nervous. Handoff toward that side and just out of the end zone. Memphis thought it was a safety, Darius Tice, and I think Tice gets some credit for awareness there. He reached that ball forward and make sure it was not a safety.
Yes, penetration. When you look at the ability of Jackson Dillon, maybe the best player on the Memphis defense, 6'6" guy, he penetrates and nearly comes up with a safety.
So now 3rd and 11 from the end zone.
Huge play. Could throw deep, probably move the quarterback. You can't hold in the end zone or it's a safety. Memphis is in a great position here to try to stop them, get a short field.
Looks to me like that young left guard is still in the game. Pressure immediately. Flowers almost out of the back of the end zone. Now he's going to run and throw it away. And he avoided the safety. That was nearly a disaster for South Florida. Jackson Dillon in the backfield once again.
Really good mobility by Quentin Flowers. It should have been a sack there for a safety. Their best pass rusher, Jackson Dillon, comes. Really good play by Flowers to keep from giving up points here.
Yeah, that was close. He almost stepped on the back of that end line. Now from the end zone, Matthias Chabadi with a good kick. Very good kick considering field position. And Memphis's return man is going backwards. Penalty flag thrown. Roderick Proctor. That was not a good return. And with the penalty, Memphis is going to have a lot worse field position than they should have.
Yes, that came out being a really good punting situation for South Florida, because not only do they have a tremendous punter, one of the best in the country, Sabati, but also the penalty now is going to put them way back.
A 50-yard punt.
And this young guy's a 4 handicap in golf. He's impressive to me now. And a civil engineer at the same time. So what an impressive young man.
Yeah, he's got a chance to be an NFL punter. Matthias Chabadi. And that's an uncomfortable spot for a punter. You got to get the kickoff a little quicker than usual. Pin that deep. Todd LaPenta, the referee, will announce the call.
There are multiple fouls against the receiving team on the play.
Okay.
Personal foul. Receiving team, number 23. That foul is declined. Personal foul. Targeting, number 5 of the receiving team. Official timeout. That player is under further review.
Wow.
The targeting was to the head and neck area of the player.
Well, that's a targeting call against Mose Frazier, who is one of their best offensive players, and that's an automatic review. That means Paul Zukis and the replay official upstairs. We'll see if we can spot it with Frazier. So that's the targeting call. You saw the helmet move. That's the long snapper, Alex Salvato. Down deep in coverage. The flag was thrown quickly. See if we look at it again. Yeah, I mean, I think that's crown of the helmet to the helmet.
It is. I do think we have to be careful. We've still got to let them play. And if we get anything close to head, we've got to be smart and not take the aggressiveness out of the game and still take care of the young players. But it does look like from that angle, it was point of the helmet to head. So I would think that he'll be out of the game for the rest of this one and half of next week, or the next game with Ole Miss.
Well, the good news for Memphis, if it is targeting, is because this is in the first half, he wouldn't have to miss part of that next game, barely. Let's see what the call is.
After further review, the ruling of targeting against number 5 has been confirmed. That player is disqualified. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's the second player that Memphis has lost to targeting. 10-7 South Florida. Will come back right after this. Here, 3:36 to go until halftime. And that last sequence did not go well for the Tigers. South Florida punted from its 1. We're here at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Dave Fleming, Mac Brown, Allison Williams on what has turned into a beautiful night with all the bad weather elsewhere. around the country. It's 80 degrees. It's dry. It's perfect. That last sequence not perfect for Memphis. With the penalty yardage, that ended up being a 71-yard punt. This pass incomplete. Just a little too far over the middle.
And Dave, I agree with the penalty to Mose Frazier. I hate the fact that here's a senior leader that has to go in the dressing room and sit there for the second half. Let the guys get dressed in sweats. Let them come back out and cheer on their teammates.
Yeah, that would be an easy one, I think, to change. A little flanker screen type play to Tevin Jones, who is stopped short of the first down out around the 35 to set up third down and a long 3 for Memphis with 3:15 to go until halftime.
Huge series here for South Florida. 3:12 left in the half. They can't afford to let Memphis score. Take momentum into halftime.
Bulls have the lead. Lynch, big room up the middle. Faked that jet sweep and kept it. First down, Memphis.
That's what they do to you. Speed on the flanks, speed outside, get everybody's eyes going outside, and big Paxton Lynch takes it and turns it upfield for a 10, 12-yard gain.
Yeah, you watch that defensive end make a move to the ball carrier potentially, and Lynch just kept it. Longest run for Memphis. Lynch nowhere to go downfield. He gets a block to buy some time. He's going to throw incomplete. He was directing traffic the whole time, but finally Jones just could not quite grab it.
Well, once again, if we're coaching quarterbacks here, Paxton Lynch comes out on the sprint. He's looking backside for the crossing route. They've got it covered. Run the ball. Run the ball. It's first down. You can run for the first down, step out of bounds and step the clock. Mistake there by one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, he easily could have gotten, if not close, that first down. This one is caught. In traffic, Roderick Proctor. No, it was Oglesby who made the catch. He looked up and the ball was right on top of him.
Yeah, he's going to be a special player. He's just showing up too much. Really good throw, tight area. He knew he was going to get hit. He still focused on the ball, made the tough catch.
Godwin with the hit, but it's 3rd and 2. Just across midfield. Lynch sprinting left. He's going to throw too high. Incomplete, intended for Mayhew, who was there. A little bit of pressure may have impacted the throw. 4th and 2, and Memphis is going to punt the ball away.
Wow. And that play was made by the defensive end. If you can see him outside getting his hands up and making the quarterback throw the ball a little bit high. Excellent play call. Had the first down, but impossible to get the ball thrown with a hand in his face. Great stop by South Florida.
So now Nick Jacobs, who did such a good job with the short punt last time. This one not quite as good, although still at about the 11. The fair catch from Fullwood. Timeout in Tampa. 1:54 to go until halftime.
Yeah, the game day is one of the greatest shows ever. College football just loves it. And then we've got great games all day, but that one tomorrow night, those two teams will not worry about the rain. It means too much to both of them. They're going to go play.
I don't think they will, but the rain it could be monumental. So I don't think there's any question it'll impact the way that game is played. This is an interesting scenario. Memphis and South Florida, they each have all 3 of their timeouts. It's 1st and 10, 1:54 to go until halftime. And back at the 12-yard line, the Bulls on offense will hand the ball to Marlon Mack, who gets tripped up. A gain of a couple of yards. Down on the sideline, that Notre Dame-Clemson game. More information from our own Allison Williams.
Yeah, I talked to Heather Cox, who's working the sidelines for that game, and boy, do I feel for her with that weather tomorrow night that's expected. She did say for Clemson, a bigger emphasis on the run game for them. They did practice with wet footballs all week, and Dabo Swinney said, we can't be as crisp and precise in the passing game with the rain, so we have to win it in the trenches.
Yeah, Heather will be wet tomorrow. We know that, that's for sure. Good tackle by Avery and company. And now a timeout used by Memphis with 3rd down setup here. Justin Fuente, I think he can sense an opportunity for his offense if they can stop the Bulls on 3rd down and get the ball back.
Yes, he'll use another timeout on 3rd down if they don't make the first down. And then he keeps the timeout in his pocket for its 1-minute offense here at the end of the half. South Florida does get the ball to start the second half, but they do not need to give Memphis points and let them take momentum into halftime. This is a critical play for the Bulls.
So do you like the way that Memphis handled that? They let the clock roll after the first down play. Second down, they got the stop and used the timeout.
It's exactly what we would have done. You don't want them to make the first down, and you've given them more time on the clock. So wait and see. But now 3rd down and 6. The Bulls are going to have to open up their playbook, and they may have to throw it. So you might have 2 timeouts left if it's an incomplete pass.
So Flowers in the shotgun. He's going to try to run. He gets away from Dillon, but not the second tackler. Now the ball is out, but the whistle blows. The play was down. That would have been a complete disaster for South Florida. Instead, it's 4th down. Memphis uses that second timeout. The Bulls will have to punt.
Let's watch number 34, Jackson Dillon, as he comes up and forces the quarterback outside. If he gets to go straight up the field, he makes the first down. But he makes him bounce outside, and then a tremendous tackle by Regis Ball. Great play by Regis. That may be a difference in this ball game later on. Minute 12 left. You've still got a timeout if you're Memphis. Now you've got to try to do a better job with the punt than they did last time, Dave, where it ended up being a net punt of 71 yards.
Yeah, Dillon and the Ball make the play, so that's just like Memphis wanted it. And Mac was describing how that sequence could have played out. The South Florida defense is going to have to come back on the field. Matias Chabati, one of the best punters in the country. And they're going to lean on him here. He's pressured, but he gets off a booming punt, and I mean booming. Way back there to about the 23. With some blocking, it's Proctor to the 25, to the 30, out to the 40. Proctor to midfield, and finally pushed out of bounds. So the big punt, but the big return. Will take a quick break. Be back in 30 seconds. 57 on the clock for Memphis to try to get points. Ball carrier out of bounds at Sam Kraft. Memphis has 1 timeout. They've got a field goal kicker with a lot of range. Down 3, 53 seconds until halftime.
They ran that option into the boundary, and Sam Kraft was smart. He stepped out of bounds because it stops the clock, and you can use the boundary as your friend like a timeout.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Kraft in the backfield alongside Lynch. They fake that jet sweep. Lynch pressured as he throws, and it is incomplete. Good coverage intended for Mayhew along the sideline. 3rd down. Got to be impressed with the way South Florida's defense has played in the first half.
These guys have played well. I know Tom Allen has to be really impressed, and you can see that he's made some adjustments since the Maryland game 2 weeks ago.
3rd down's been tough for Memphis. Lynch, a little pump fake, and now the ball is batted in the air and almost intercepted. Incomplete. And that's South Florida defense. Demetrius Hill leading the way. He got his hands up. There's an impressive stop.
Yes, there's a twist up inside here as we look at the difference when you got Sanat coming around. All of a sudden they get a stalemate, and big number 9, Demetrius Hill, is like a defensive back knocking it down. So twist up inside. Good pickup by Memphis. But when you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up, knock the ball down.
High punt, fair catch signal, and the fair catch made at about the 12-yard line. 36 seconds to go. You wonder how aggressive South Florida's offense will be. But that was really well done by the Bulls defense, because Memphis, they only needed 15 or 20 yards to be in real reasonable field goal range with their kicking game, and they could not even get 1 first down.
Very impressive first half by the Bulls. I think you'll see them hand the ball off here and take their lead into halftime. They get the ball to start the second half. Willie couldn't be happier. Willie Taggart, 10-7, couldn't be happier with this as we look at our graphic for the first half.
Now, South Florida, they did take their first drive 95 yards into the end zone. Memphis's defense has played better since then. Both defenses, I think, have to be happy with the way the first half has gone overall. Mack gets the ball, trying to cut it upfield, and most importantly, just hang on to the ball. He lost a yard.
Take care of the ball. Some coaches will take a knee so they won't have a chance to fumble. Some other coaches think, what the heck, you might squirt it through and get a 90-yard run there. But the punters and the defenses have definitely been the most valuable players in our first half.
Well, now they don't have to run another play, and so Willie Taggart will take the headset off and lead his South Florida team toward the locker room. The Bulls, pretty big underdogs at home, and yet they lead at halftime 10-7. Stay tuned for an interview with Willie Taggart. First, though, Adnan, Danny, and Joey with the college football halftime. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. Friday night in Tampa, and South Florida playing at home with an excellent first half. They lead undefeated Memphis 10-7. Dave Fleming, Mac Brown, Allison Williams back with you here at Raymond James Stadium. Memphis came in averaging 53 points a game, Coach. South Florida slowed them down, not just with their defense, but also with their offense.
Well, I think what happened is Willie Taggart said, we're going to be physical, and we're going to be more physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. He had a week off. Here's a speed sweep to Marlon Mack. He breaks tackles. Here's an off-tackle power play where Mack's patient. He cuts back, but there's a lot of movement up front. Then you can have penetration if you're going to run the option. And all of a sudden, the Wallace's in the backfield, and Hector makes the tackle, and then they try to hand the ball off. A lot of penetration up front by this Bulls defense.
They call themselves the Bull Sharks on defense, and they played like it in that first half. Really impressive against one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and they get the ball to start the second half, or do they? Onside kick, and Memphis has the ball. Elliott recovered it himself, just totally takes South Florida by surprise. Now the Bulls are arguing that they weren't ready to go. Willie Taggart looks stunned on the sideline, but the onside kick, and Elliott recovered it himself.
On the field, the ball traveled 10 yards, recovered by the kicking team, first down.
Wow.
Well, great decision by the coaching staff of Memphis. All of a sudden, you can see he kicks it. They've been watching that front throughout the ball game. It did go 10 yards, and any time the guys lose focus up front on the return team and start going back too soon, you kick it right at them and have a couple of blockers to help you. Great play to start the moment of the second half.
Yeah, that's an All-American type kicker, and he just executed that perfectly. Now a throw to the tight end, Alan Cross, for the catch on first down, and we'll send it downstairs to Allison Williams.
We'll see if Memphis' offense can take advantage of that onside kick. Head coach Justin Fuente told me at the half that they weren't exactly slopping around on offense, but they definitely needed to be more efficient. Defensively, he said, I'm proud of the way they hung in there against the run. They added some more guys to the box to help them to hold up, but he did say it's tough with the quarterback that can run the ball. The stuff USF did with the motion definitely gave them problems.
How about the call, though? Thanks, Allison, from Justin Fuente out of the locker room, trailing on the road with the onside kick, and just done beautifully by Jake Elliott. But now it's 3rd and 2. Lynch pressured. Lynch on the move. Will throw the ball downfield. Incomplete. More good South Florida defense. And you do wonder this part of the field whether Memphis is tempted to go for it.
This is an area you could definitely fake. And we'd have to go back to Nick Jacobs if he's in the game. He has faked once for an 11-yard run and made a first down, but this is a situation where Memphis could think about the fake. They had a great call on the onside kick. Now they've lost the possession that they gained.
Now that would be really gutsy. Onside kick, then a fake punt. Back-to-back, they do punt it away. Fair catch, and another great job by Jacobs to pin the Bulls deep. Well, the onside kick didn't exactly work the way Memphis wanted it. They got the ball, but 3 and out, they punt the ball away. But now South Florida's offense with poor starting field position, which is not unusual for them in this game. They started with a lot of bad field position. I think it's one of the reasons why it's impressive they have a 3-point lead.
Well, and give Tom Allen, that defensive coordinator, credit from South Florida, because his 2 weeks off were very productive.
Yeah, those kids were not just sort of standing on the sideline thinking the offense was going to have the ball first, not ready to go. They came out on the field and made the stop. So 1st and 10, South Florida. Handoff, Marlon Mack, right side running. Mack hit that crease nicely and got out close to the 15-yard line, 5-yard gain.
And I think we're going to see South Florida go back and try to recreate the first drive of the game. Be physical, quick tempo. See if they can stay on the field.
Another handoff, this time left side running without as much room. Tice trying to get to that edge, and he did well not to lose yards on the play.
It's a speed sweep bouncing outside. Really good pursuit by the Memphis defense. And I think you can see that Justin Fuente probably talked to him really hard at halftime.
3rd and short. Flowers in that shotgun. Fakes a handoff. Keeps it. Flowers does not get there. You said it. Memphis's defense has played a lot better as this game has gone on. Now that's going to be a 3 and out for South Florida.
Yes, they lowered the safety. They're going to make it harder for them run. I think we're going to see Memphis in the second half force Quentin Flowers to throw the ball if they're going to win the game.
One of the standouts of the first half for South Florida was their punter, Matias Chabadi. He stands inside the 5, punts it from around the 5, and another good-looking punt. Taken at the 40, turned upfield along the sideline for a nice return by Roderick Proctor. Memphis with the ball when we come back to Tampa. Notre Dame in Death Valley for the first time since 1977 to take on number 12 Clemson Saturday. 8 Eastern, Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo on ABC, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. For more on that matchup, here's Allison Williams.
And what a test in Death Valley for Notre Dame quarterback DeShone Kizer. He talked to Heather Cox and the crew that will have the game tomorrow, and he said it's the preparation and getting swallowed up in the preparation, focusing on football, that's helped him get through the pressures of being the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. But there will certainly be a lot of pressure coming at him tomorrow night in Death Valley.
Well, that Notre Dame defense has been awesome. They've lost all those starters on the offensive side of the ball, and they've given up some big plays on defense, but it's been an impressive unit. Handoff Memphis, first down. The Tigers into South Florida territory with a run of 5 yards from Jarvis Cooper.
Jarvis Cooper's their big guy, so they may try to pound here and go off tackle some. 245-pounder leading rusher for this football team.
And Coach, they started at the 48, their own 48, exactly where they started after their onside kick to begin the half. Paxton Lynch, another handoff, this time not nearly as much room. A gain of 2. Memphis has had a lot of third downs. This will be another one. They're 4 of 10 on third down so far in the game.
Yes, I'm sure the Memphis staff talked to them about converting 3rd and 4th downs, and all of a sudden you're sitting here with Lynch. He's got to start converting these on 3rd down.
He's gone a little cold after a hot start in this game. Guy has put up huge numbers.
Donald's.
Well, some engineering students here showed us a solar-powered resource recovery system developed in South Florida, converts wastewater into nutrients, renewable energy, and clean drinking water. They're going to ship that unit over to India to help water treatment efforts there. So doing some good here on campus. 10-10 ball game. 3rd quarter, Memphis and South Florida, and another booming kickoff. Okay, so you think a 3rd down incompletion is a small play? It was a big play in this game, Mac.
Well, it's a huge play. Number 1, Demetrius Hill coming off the corner, and all of a sudden Paxton Lynch is in trouble, but he finds his tailback, Sam Kraft. If he doesn't dump this ball off or gets intentional grounding, sack or intentional grounding, they're out of field goal range. All of a sudden you got a tie game because of the smart quarterback.
I mean, I think it's a good point. It's good defense, but the quarterback avoids taking the big loss, set up the 49-yard field goal that has tied the game. It's been a frustrating game for Paxton Lynch. South Florida playing excellent defense. Marlon Mack on the left side with another nice gain. Mack will put him right around 100 yards for the night with still a long time to go. That's 7, and that officially means 101 for Marlon Mack tonight.
Yeah, Chris Morley came over for the defense, number 17, and made a good tackle, but that's exactly what South Florida wanted on 1st down.
Handoff, and that is another 1st down for Mack, straight ahead running. There is a flag on the field, though.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 men on the field, 5-yard penalty. The force of this penalty results in a 1st down.
One thing that happens when you're using tempo offense is a lot of times you can snap that ball when they've got too many on the field.
Yeah,
hard to substitute, especially as many plays as South Florida's been on the field.
Chauncey Lanier, he was trying to get off the field, just couldn't do it. And off on first down. That time the Memphis defense was ready for Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack, number 5 for South Florida. Kid from Sarasota, so a local player. Very good high school player. A lot of big-time programs, SEC programs liked him as a defensive back. The Bulls gave him a chance to stay close to home and play running back, and he's one of the better players in the American Conference. Flowers faked it to him, kept it, and neither decision was going to be a good one. Memphis's defense was right there.
Well, he's also a very impressive young man. We met with Marlon yesterday, and he's a team leader and an upbeat young guy. But now you're putting the Bulls in a position that they're not really designed for. This third down and long, and I think we'll see them be smart with the ball.
And Marlon Mack, South Florida, they've got a lot of talent on this roster, and they have beaten some SEC teams for the good local talent. So much talent here in this Bay Area. Flowers on third and long, dumps it off, the screen pass. Dearness Johnson is shoved out of bounds. He was fighting for it, and I think they spotted him about a yard short, maybe a half a yard short. It's fourth down, and we'll see. Is Willie Taggart bold enough near midfield to go for it? He's going to send the punt team out.
He is going to send the punt team out. Once again, here's a position where you could run a fake. So the Memphis defense is going to line up in a safe position because they're going to make sure that they don't fake this ball.
Well, the fans not thrilled. Chabadi is not faking it. He's going to kick it deep, high and deep. Proctor, fair catch signal, makes it around the 7-yard line. Well, Memphis gets the ball back. Celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds.
And Dave, I'll say all fans want you to go for it on fourth down and 1, but they also want you to make it. It's not in question.
I do think that fans have gotten frustrated. We have seen a lot of that for whatever reason. Maybe it's nothing new this year, but there have been some high-profile spots where teams midfield plus territory, fourth and short, punting the ball away, handoff for Memphis, starting to find some room. Finally in the ground game, this was Dorland Dorcius, one of the 4 running backs that they use for a nice first down run.
Yeah, we're seeing Memphis come out with the power play, pulling both backside guys, and you've got Dorland downhill. So I think we're going to see them be more physical, try to take some pressure off Lynch, and then try to hit something big off play action.
And remember, in case you missed it, Lynch, handoff again. Nowhere to go for Dorcius this time, just across the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. Demetrius Hill with another tackle. He's playing a heck of a game. But Mose Frazier, who is their leading receiver at wide receiver, was called on a special teams play for targeting in the first half, so he is not available here in the second half for Memphis.
Well, and a leader. They've also had some trouble in protection. Tom Allen is worried about pressure off the corner, but Demetrius Hill is answering those questions for him tonight.
Play fake. Lynch throws. He's got his man caught. Turned upfield. First down. That's Anthony Miller, that former walk-on who's turned into a reliable possession receiver for the Tigers.
Yeah, when we asked Coach Fuente yesterday about Anthony Miller, he lit up and he said he is a tough young man. He's a spunky young man, and he feels really good about himself as a player. That's the kind of guy you need when you're in trouble on the road.
No big explosive plays, though, for the Tigers. Lynch on the move, throwing it downfield, over top the coverage. There's a big play. The receiver caught it, then stepped out of bounds, so it will be ruled a catch. Phil Mayhew, the sophomore, trying to stay in bounds. If he had, he might have gone for 6 points.
Once again, this one's on the quarterback. He pumps it flat. He gets the eyes of the defensive back to look back into the backfield for him and throws it over the top for a huge play.
Well, and you see, he definitely stepped out of bounds. Mayhew did do a good job making sure he got the catch in bounds. So a legal catch. And now Memphis into South Florida territory. Dorsey is cutting it back, going backwards. staying on his feet, just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, and he can't quite do that. He loses a yard after he ran, 40 yards on the play.
Well, and we have to give credit time and time again to that Tom Allen defense because of penetration. You're not going to consistently run the ball if you're allowing penetration up front. And both of these defenses play a whole lot of guys, so they should not be getting tired here. But Tom's done a tremendous job tonight with this defense.
And we got 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Memphis averaging 53 points a game. They've got 10 tonight. Dorcius inside the 25, down to about the 27. Augie Sanchez. We haven't called his name that often tonight. The middle linebacker with the tackle.
They really like Augie Sanchez. He's a guy that's got history here. His brother played here. His sister came to school here. And he missed the first half of the Maryland game because of a targeting shot at Florida State. Good to have him back.
It was a big call in that Florida State game when South Florida was still close on the road in Tallahassee. Lynch on third down, right to the marker. And where will they spot Roderick Proctor? I think he gave him a good spot. That's a first down, Memphis.
The coaches talked a lot about that pocket presence. When you start looking at Paxton Lynch, he's stead in there. He didn't flinch at all. He didn't move out too soon. Really good throw and catch. I think we're going to see Paxton Lynch pick it up here in the second half, just like he did against Cincinnati.
Well, they're not quite in the red zone. They've been one of the best red zone teams in the country this year. Handoff and then a pass fake to Kraft. South Florida's defensive front has just made it so tough on Memphis tonight.
And that's not a surprise for the Memphis coaches, Dave. They sat there and told us this is the best part of their football team on defense. Their backs are the best part of their football team on offense. And they knew that these two groups would give them trouble tonight, and they have.
We keep showing the defensive coordinator, Tom Allen. I think he's a name to remember. I mean, I think he is a rising defensive coaching star in college football. They're doing a heck of a job tonight. Lynch going toward the end zone, into coverage, almost intercepted. Ronnie Hoggins, who is a true freshman who started the first game of his career tonight with the coverage. They really like him.
And this is a really good defensive play by the offensive player because he had to knock that ball loose. They can't afford an interception here and come away with no points.
Intended for Miller. Ronnie Hoggins, true freshman. They think he's a star in the making at cornerback.
Yeah, he had 15 interceptions in high school, and they say he's got a lot of takeaways in practice, so he earned the right to start.
He almost had his first college interception there. Tight end cross in motion. 3rd and 9. Lynch with a lot of time this time, but nowhere to throw the ball. Now he finds a man open, and the catch inside the 10, and a broken tackle down to the 5 by Phil Mayhew. Well, great play by Paxton Lynch, and then a super catch from Mayhew, 1st and goal.
Yes, they decided to rush 3 men this time. Really good protection, and Paxton Lynch can stand back there and look. Right now it would be a coverage sack, but watch his mobility moving to his left. Good soft throw to Mayhew downfield. Huge first down for Memphis. I like this drive with Paxton Lynch.
So now it's 1st and goal. Lynch in a pistol type formation brings Kraft into the backfield and hands it off. Straight ahead running inside the 3-yard line, close to the 2. On this drive, Paxton Lynch 4 of 5, 72 yards.
It's what your quarterback has to do. Older guy, step up, settle things down, make plays.
This time, handoff again. Dorcius, nowhere to go. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Augie Sanchez in on the tackle. It'll be 3rd and goal.
I think now, guys, we'll see probably Paxton Lynch moving. It'll be an option, it'll be a naked, it'll be a bootleg, it'll be a sprint, but they're probably going to move him most likely to this side because he's got the field toward us, toward the right.
3rd and goal. Lynch is going to keep it straight ahead. Touchdown. Well, he was on the move all right, but instead of side to side, straight to the goal line.
Well, they used their eye candy with their formations with the speed sweep to make it look like they were going wide. They got the South Florida defenders to look outside. If you watch them here, they just rushed outside. pulling guard pulled up inside. Very well designed play. Quarterback keeper for a touchdown.
Well, you said it. Number 43, that middle linebacker, Augie Sanchez, he went with the flanker there, and that middle was wide open for Paxton Lynch. 93 yards, and Memphis, for the first time of the game, has the lead, and it's their star quarterback, Paxton Lynch, running one in. 17-10 Tigers. Tigers lead for the first time, 17-10 over the Bulls of South Florida. And Coach, let's take another look at that touchdown run.
Well, Tom Allen was really worried about eye discipline. So you watch number 43, Augie Sanchez. There's a speed sweep going outside to the right. It's 3rd down and goal. He gets outside. The backside guard pulls up inside. And Paxton Lynch, with his big 6'7" frame, dives in for an easy touchdown to lead 17-10.
Well, just a great example of exactly what you were talking about. The problem is in trying to defend Memphis, and that was a breakdown for a South Florida defense that has played so well tonight. Memphis averaging 53 points a game. A kick return this time, but not a lot of room. Now bouncing off the tackle, going backwards. The return man all the way across the field, Rodney Adams. Not good field position for South Florida before they get the ball. Let's check in with the studio and Adnan Burke.
Thank you very much, Dave. Just want to let you know what's happening with Charlotte 49ers hosting Temple. 10-3 Temple here early in the 3rd quarter. It's Jahad Thomas again, 14 yards as he gets it down inside the 5, then he'll punch it himself. So far, 20 carries, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns as Temple has the advantage 17-3. Dave?
All right, Adnan, thank Temple with already an impressive win against Penn State. Really a dominating win against Penn State. First down run, nowhere to go. Jannard Avery for Memphis. You said it, Coach. Memphis in the second half, they are going to try their best to force South Florida to throw the ball. They are ganging up on the run.
Well, and Memphis has got one of the longest win streaks in the country at 11. I think they're 3rd, and South Florida's trying to learn to win. So the last 5 drives, they've shut them down.
Only Ohio State and TCU have won more consecutive games than Memphis. There's a shot down the field, and it's caught. The tight end, Sean Price, right near midfield. They had to take a shot, and they connect.
Well, and when you're in some trouble, your senior leaders, your captain has to step up. All of a sudden, you've been running the ball so well. Play action once again. The Memphis linebackers step up. Great throw to the tight end.
39 yards, Marlon Mack to the line of scrimmage. They'll continue to try to stop the run for South Florida. But the Bulls may have to do a little bit more of that. Take some shots down the field.
Yeah, Leonard Pegues with a really good play to tackle him for no gain. I can promise you, Memphis said, we'll let them take some shots, but they're not going to beat us running the ball like they did the first half.
All 3 of the running backs in the game at the same time. Play fake. They're going to screen it out to Dearness Johnson. Defense right there, though. Read that perfectly, and it's that same guy you just mentioned. Leonard Pegues with another tackle.
Yes, they tried to take a deep shot off play action again. They had one-on-one, but once again, Quentin Flowers wasn't comfortable and confident enough to lay that ball out because he had a chance with one-on-one coverage.
Instead, it's 3rd and 10.
And I think we're going to see Memphis say Quentin Flowers throwing the ball has to beat us here in the 4th quarter.
And we're almost at that 4th quarter. Play clock is off, so South Florida may just decide to let the clock wind down and take this 3rd down play as the first play of quarter number 4. That's what they do. Now playing from behind at home. Memphis 17, South Florida 10, 4th quarter coming up. No, Indiana. Those are 2 high-scoring teams. Saturday, 3:30 on either ABC or ESPN2. The other game on either ABC or ESPN2, same time. Maybe even more points. Texas Tech and Baylor, a shootout coming in the Big 12. Those games also available live on Watch ESPN, so you can watch them both.
I think that Texas Tech Baylor game is going to come down to defenses, not offenses. Which defense steps up and makes enough takeaways?
Just a couple maybe needed to win that game.
Yes.
A couple stops, maybe a turnover, that could do it. All right, back here for the start of the 4th quarter. South Florida, 3rd down and 10. 1 of 8 tonight on 3rd down. And one of the worst teams in the country this season on 3rd down. Flowers from the pocket. His throw is caught. Now penalty flag is thrown. Pass short of the first down, but close. Rodney Adams with the catch. We'll see what the penalty is. But a spot on the field where you figure if the play stands, they would go for it. Well, the officials talking to both sides. Todd LaPenta came over to the South Florida sideline, now over to the Memphis sideline. Maybe an illegal man downfield for the Bulls.
Ineligible receiver, downfield, offense, number 85. He was covered up. 5-yard penalty. They're down.
So that tight end, he may not even quite understand why he was flagged for a penalty. Memphis, I think, realizing that if they decline that penalty, South Florida is going to go for it. They'll push the Bulls backwards.
Yeah, some fans might question that because it would be 4th and short. But I totally agree with Justin Fuente. Take them back because they're not a good 3rd down and 15 team.
South Florida, we mentioned that number, 4th worst team in FBS. 3rd down conversion rate coming into tonight. The pass, a deep shot downfield, incomplete. Adams with speed had a couple of steps, and Flowers knows he just missed one. It's 4th down.
Well, and Willie Taggart kept saying they're getting so close. That's what they have to do to start winning. You got a guy wide open for a score on 3rd down and 16. Big mistake by Memphis. They've given up some deep throws, but you've got to hit that throw to beat a good football team.
That hurts. That was a chance to tie the game. On one play, Chabadi with a rare short punt this time. It'll bounce out of bounds around the 20-yard line. Timeout here from Tampa. Undefeated Memphis with a 17-10 lead.
Tune your radio dial.
Rangers keep it locked to Sports Center at night. Baseball playoff races. This is the final weekend of the regular season. Sports Center at night on ESPN, and watch ESPN after Angels and Rangers. And it could be a must-win for the Angels in their playoff hopes. Must win for Memphis if they want to keep their, and it's a long shot, but they feel like they've got playoff hopes this year in college football. Tough running from Jarvis Cooper on 1st down for 3 yards for Memphis.
And all they're trying to do is win in advance. It doesn't need to be pretty. They've got a week off next week, then they host Ole Miss. So all Justin Fuente is trying to do is win this game by 1 point and get out of here.
If they do win this game, they will have a chance for a signature win and then some at home, which will just be a gigantic game. Lynch is down, sacked by that pass rush of South Florida. Bruce Hector, Eric Lee, Demetrius Hill, they were all there.
One of the concerns for the Bulls has been not getting enough penetration and pass rush, and they're answering a lot of questions up front tonight. You look at the pass rush by Eric Lee. He gets in there and gives absolutely no chance for Memphis to make a play.
On 3rd and long, they hand the ball off. So very conservative play call. Nice gain, but stopped short of the 1st down. Bulls defense holds. Memphis will punt the ball back to South Florida.
They made that call to keep from having a turnover, so they get better field position. They've got one of the better punters around. Their defense is playing great. They've got to make South Florida drive the length of the field before they can score. They don't want them to have a short field at this point in the game.
Now here's the punt. Spencer Smith, the longer punter. Fair catch made at around the 28-yard line. 7-point game, 12:51 to go. We'll be back after this.
And in part by H&M. Fashion and quality at the best price.
Memphis and their star quarterback Paxton Lynch having to play from behind again this week, trying to make a case as the best team from the group of 5. Undefeated 4-0, really being challenged by a South Florida team that is talented but inexperienced at quarterback, looking for a signature win. And I think this would qualify for the Bulls if they can get it.
Absolutely. With 12:51 left, it's been very physical. We've got a great football game going here. This is the best start with the 11 drives tonight. Best start for the Bulls all night.
At their own 28, that's amazing. Marlon Mack straight ahead running. Mack, who hits that hole so fast, gets 5 on 1st down.
And the South Florida coaches said we want to go into the fourth quarter with a chance to win because the pressure will be on Memphis. We're sitting here with a 7-point game, 12:30 left in the game.
Tough going for the offense, though. The first drive of the game, South Florida took it down the field 95 yards and scored their only touchdown. Mack just had nowhere to go. That ground game has been a lot tougher. Dontrell Nelson, the defensive back, came in with run support.
I think once again, Quentin Flowers is going to have to make a throw in this drive like he did the last drive. He's going to have to complete some balls down the field to give them a chance to score unless they create a takeover of some type defensively.
Marlon Mack, who's got 107 yards on the ground, almost 6 yards a carry. Sixth time he's had better than 100 in his career. Quentin Flowers, the sophomore quarterback from Miami, on 3rd and 5, rolling out, trying to get away. Flowers downfield, incomplete, and he had nowhere to go with the ball. Immediately that play was just busted up by that defensive penetration.
Now, a young quarterback with tremendous ability. He can run with his feet. He's like a running back in the backfield. But when people see this video, they're going to try to stop a great running attack up front by the South Florida Bulls, and they're going to make him throw the ball.
So Chabadi with another punt coming. He's been busy tonight. Gets off a huge punt. And the return is dropped. Ball's on the field, but Memphis gets it back. Wow. Lanier recovered it after it was Roderick Proctor who put it on the ground. That would have been an enormous play. 53-yard punt and nearly a turnover.
Well, this is what has to happen right now for South Florida to have a chance to win the ball game. They've played it well, and all of a sudden Tayshawn Whitehurst is kicking himself because that ball fell right in front of him and he couldn't fall on it for the big takeaway.
Yeah, it's hard to blame him. He's flying down the field, going into sort of a slide, but the ball was there for the taking. And you can tell he's kicking himself. 1st and 10 Memphis. Paxton Lynch with the play fake. Looking to throw. Deep middle. Incomplete. A check in the studio. Once again, here's Adnan Vert.
Thank you very much, Dave. Just want to let you know what's happening with regards to Charlotte and Temple. Nate Smith, the block punt for a touchdown. 3rd block punt for a touchdown since the start of last season for Temple. That's the most in the MPS. It's a laugher right now, 30-3. Back to you.
Well, and we want that update. Temple in the American, another one of those teams we've been talking about tonight, along with Memphis, trying to make that argument perhaps at the end of the year as the best group of 5 team. What a pitch play that is. And that's Jalen Oglesby down the sideline, finally pushed out of bounds, but a big gain for Memphis.
Very good execution on the option by Paxton Lynch. Guy comes in his face, he pitches his outside, and we've talked about the speed of Oglesby. Right now, he and Anthony Miller seem to be the 2 fastest players in space for Memphis.
31 yards. He's carried the ball twice. He's got 47 rush yards as a wide receiver. So the big play for Memphis out near midfield. They fake that end around and throw a screen, and it's blocked nicely. Down the field, 40, 35, 30, still going to the 20. Cutting it back middle, on his feet, Dorcius, end zone, what a play, touchdown. 55 yards, and he did almost all of that himself. The sophomore Dorland Dorcius. Tom Allen, the defensive coordinator, cannot believe it.
He's dying there. His defense has been on the field a whole lot this second half. Guys got tired. They didn't tackle well there in space.
86 yards in 3 plays, and the last 2 covered almost all of that. Extra point coming for Jake Elliott. It is up, and it is good. So 2 huge plays for Memphis to pad the lead.
What a great play call. 2 fakes, screen play outside. One of the best runs we've seen all year. Great play. Memphis 24-10.
Matt Kelly's been a long journey to get to Oxford, but the Ole Miss quarterback playing well. And then a cool story about what Stanford and some folks there have done in the virtual reality world to try to help college football teams. That's all coming up on a College game day tomorrow at 9 a.m. from South Carolina in the rain. 24-10 here. Dave Fleming, Mac Brown, Allison Williams. Memphis with the 2-touchdown lead after the big drive and touchdown for the Tigers.
Well, and now Memphis has been out there 64 plays to 51. The last 3 drives, field goal, touchdown, and touchdown by Memphis. They're wearing South Florida down.
And the South Florida offense needs to come back to life. Success early, not much lately. Adams in the kick return game, picking his way forward, gets out to the 30-yard line. That's where the Bulls will have the ball. We've been talking a lot about Memphis and where they fit in these Group of 5 contenders. Remember, a champion from the Group of 5 conferences gets a guaranteed New Year's 6 bowl game. There are others, but we think these 5 stand out so far.
I like this. We saw Boise last week. They were very impressive. Toledo goes to Arkansas and wins. They beat Iowa State. Houston is at Louisville and wins. They've got Tulsa tomorrow. Really good teams out there. Temple winning big tonight. A lot of fun ahead.
Yeah, you know, those opportunities for bigger wins as Mack catches the ball out of the backfield. So a nice gain for South Florida. Out to the 47-yard line, 16 yards for the Bulls on first down. Memphis has a chance against a power from the SEC. Temple has a chance against what is at the moment a top 10 Notre Dame team. I mean, those are big win possibilities out of conference for those teams as they try to become a conference champion and qualify for one of those New Year's 6 bowl games.
Absolutely.
On the end-around type play, the true freshman Chris Barr. That's another sort of pitch play that piles up some passing yards for South Florida.
And this is a
game for Barr.
Dave, this is a great opportunity for Quentin Flowers and the Bulls to show that they can do the 1-minute offense. We've been talking about his inconsistency in the passing game. Here's a great drill for him to show he can take them down in a no-huddle 1-minute situation, score, and cut it back to 7 points.
Yeah, they got to go. I mean, this game is not over. You still got plenty of time on the clock, but they do have to get it going on offense. That's a quick hitter to the right side. And looks like a first down. Tyree McCants with the catch and run after. And I think they spotted him about a yard short of the first down. A helmet flew off. Deshaun Terry, the sophomore safety, has to leave the field for a play. And this, I mean, down 24-14 for South Florida. This is 2 plays to get a yard.
Yes, absolutely. You're a little over 9 minutes left to go in the ball game. You have not been successful offensively the second half. You've got to get some momentum here and try to make some first downs. You got to get 7 points in some manner.
Yeah, they don't have to rush, but I think they do have to play with some urgency on offense as that clock continues to tick away. Marlon Mack got right to the mark. And I think they will give him the first down. They put the ball down, take a look, and yeah, he's short. So they move the ball back just a little bit.
Memphis has really penetrated, and they've been so much better the second half.
Going for it on fourth down. Mack with that extra effort, lunging toward that first down line. Memphis says no. I thought he got enough to the 43-yard line.
Well, one thing I learned in coaching, one's going to say no and one's going to say yes.
Yeah, so everybody's pointing in opposite directions.
Yeah, and the officials are going to say, all of you get out of here and let's look at it.
Well, again, you see, I mean, that spot was not particularly generous. And that looks to be a good bit short. They're going to bring the chains out, but I don't think that's all that close. There was such a pile, we couldn't see exactly where they spotted the ball. Well, they had 2 plays to get a yard and couldn't do it. He is definitely short. That's a turnover on downs. And I think Willie Taggart would not mind them taking a look at the spot on replay. That is a reviewable play. Marlon Mack stretches forward. You have no perspective, though, on where the yard mark
on the
is.
field is that the runner was short of the line of the game. Official timeout. The play is under further review.
Well, they are going to take a look, and I give them credit for that. It's a huge play in the game. Maybe in some ways South Florida's hopes of winning the game are on the line. If that's the best look that they have, there's no way they can overturn that call.
No, and Willie Taggart was probably going to ask them to review it anyway and use a timeout, because Marlon Mack does everything within his power to reach the ball out and try to get to the first down. But unless it is very clear upstairs, they're not going to overturn this. And it also gives Memphis the ball in really, really good field position.
Yeah, and it's just from that one, there's not. From this one, I think you can see that, although you can't tell for sure exactly the moment he's down, and I don't know, it's hard to say. I don't think he got a generous spot. I mean, I think the spot was pretty stingy, but I don't see anything there that you could overturn the call. Paul Zukis is the replay official tonight. He's taking a look, and now we'll get the ruling from the referee.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Memphis.
Yeah, just not enough to overturn that call. And what a disappointment for South Florida. Couple nice plays on offense. 3rd and 1 in Memphis territory. 2 running plays, and they went backwards.
Well, and after that last series where they did not play well on defense, the Bulls have to play well. Tom Allen's got to stir them up and keep them going. Try to get a stop here and give them an opportunity to go score, get back in the game.
Lynch, handoff. That's Dorsey who had the big play in the pass game. Now room in the run game into South Florida territory. Memphis on the move again with a 1st and 10. The last 4 drives on both sides, a huge difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Memphis has come out and played like the team we expected to see early. Justin will continue to talk to them about starting earlier, not getting behind, but this is a confident, really good football team. Stop the run the second half. 4th quarter, they're running the ball better.
8 minutes to go, and they'd like to just be as patient as they can be. They're usually a very up-tempo offense. They're going to let the clock wind down here. Now, so much clock winding down. He's got 3 seconds to get the play off. He does. And all that for a handoff for no gain.
What we call this is a 4-minute offense, Dave, when you're trying to kill as much time as you can. Normally, you'll snap the ball with about 3 seconds left on the clock. But both teams still have 3 timeouts. It's too early for South Florida to use them. But in this 4-minute offense, pound the ball, stay on the field, and do not have penalties, no turnovers, let the clock run.
Well, if the Bulls want a chance in this game, this is a must stop for their defense. They cannot let Memphis score any more points. Already down 2 touchdowns with an offense that is not built to come from behind. They'll hand it off to Sam Kraft, getting to the left side. A little hesitation move. Upended at the South Florida 40. And he did stay in bounds to keep that clock rolling. Well, the Tigers were down by 10 at one point in this game. They have come from behind a lot this year. No dramatic giant comebacks, but they don't panic when they get down in a first half.
No, we were down 35-14 to Oklahoma State one time in Austin. We won the game 56 to 35. I told Mother, what a halftime talk, and she said, maybe you should do a better job with the pregame talk, son. So Justin's mom's probably going to get on him.
Yeah, you got to work on those pregame speeches. Hand off. And that is a very short game. So the clock continues to wind. It's 4th down. Memphis, that was a real conservative play call.
Once again, you're not seeing South Florida move the ball well enough, so Justin's content on trying to let that clock run. Now, he will probably let this clock run out and then punt, because they're going to use every tick on that clock they can. 5:58 and counting. And you can see Justin Fuente is looking at that clock to get it down to the last second before he turns to that official and either calls timeout, which he probably will do because he has 3 timeouts left. But good call by him.
Yeah, he's just going to let it go down to 0. So that's a delay of game penalty. And South Florida doesn't even want to accept it.
Delay game. Offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Yeah, they were trying to get a little bit more room for the punt, but their punters have done as good a job as anybody in the country this year, downing the ball inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, this will be their specialty punter, Nick Jacobs, sophomore from Australia. We've seen the wave of kickers come from that country. And Jacobs He's the guy on the short field who punts the ball. South Florida has to get their special teams aligned. That was close. The punt is off. Fair catch. Made. So the Bulls offense needs to get it going, down 14 with 5:35 to go.
PN2. Dave, Mac, back to you guys.
All right, and thanks. Here Memphis has taken control of this game, leading 24-10. Trying to stay undefeated in what is looking like a rugged American Conference this year. Justin Fuente's team on the road, up by 2 touchdowns. Quentin Flowers and company. Can they move the ball and move it quickly? 7th time they're starting a drive inside their own 20. Field position has been a big part of the game. A short pass dumped off and out of bounds, at least momentarily stopping the clock. Dearness Johnson, the running back, with the catch.
Now Memphis has got to keep all the ball carriers inside and in front of them. Try to keep them in bounds. Good job by Johnson getting out of bounds there, because that's like a timeout. They still have 3 timeouts. There's still enough time for them to win the game, but they've got to mount some offense now.
2nd and 5. Flowers. Play fake again. He's got plenty of time. Now he's going to scramble. Penalty flag thrown. He gets the first down, and a big game, but I think this one is coming back. You can see the look of frustration as this game has started to slip away from the Bulls.
Holding offense, number 61. Half the distance to goal. 2nd down.
Dominique Threet with the holding penalty. ESPN College Football Prime Time. We are presented by Jimmy John's from Tampa on this beautiful night. Dave Fleming, Mac Brown, Allison Williams. It has been a competitive game. Memphis coming in as a favorite on the road, one of the favorites in the American Conference.
Very physical game.
Yeah, Memphis trailed at halftime. South Florida got off to the quick start. The Memphis defense has certainly adjusted. Flowers, short completion. Clock continues to wind. Chris Barr with the catch.
And if you're Memphis, that's exactly what you want. Make them throw it short. You're dropping deep in coverage and tackle them inbounds in space short of the sticks. Now you're forced to go for a 3rd down, and then you'll have to look at the possibility of a 4th down.
Yeah, you have to. 1 of 11 on 3rd down. South Florida, if they want this to be a successful year, they've got to get a lot better at that. Nice pass, completion, 1st down, and more. Rodney Adams. And finally, they've gotten Rodney Adams out into space in this game. He had been bottled up the first few weeks of the year.
Yeah, Rodney's a really good player. He went to Toledo. He lost his mom in a car wreck and came back here, and he seems to get better with each week.
Came back home, sad story, but a kid who has persevered. Really, he has become a good player for the Bulls. Flowers throwing on 1st down. Trying to throw at least, and the pass is caught. What a catch. Dearness Johnson not only hung on to the ball, but then he avoided the big hit that he knew was coming. Another 1st down.
Really good play by Quentin Flowers here. He's moving around. He gets his eyes downfield, a soft throw inside to Johnson. They love Johnson in space. Now they've got some momentum.
To midfield, they got to go quickly. Flowers rolling right, looking downfield. Flowers will run out of bounds. Got dragged out of bounds. South Florida wanting a flag. No penalty flag thrown. And no horse collar, just dragged him down by the jersey.
DeMarco Montgomery, clean play. Just football.
3:26 to go. But South Florida's down 2 scores.
Yeah, and I like what I'm seeing out of Quentin Flowers here. He is moving. His eyes are downfield. He's being a passer, but he also can run the ball. These are the type situations that he's going to have to use to grow up in so they can have a more balanced offense.
Well, the South Florida coaches know a lot more about offense than I do, but I think that they need to do more of this with him. This style of play calling, even in the normal course of a game, not 2-minute offense, not hurry up offense. Let him move around a little bit more, because he is an excellent athlete back there. He'll step up and run. Flowers, you can see that athleticism, takes a big hit, but I think he got the 1st down. Trying to get up.
Dave, I would say that people would think they need to do more of this in their offense with him, but tonight, Willie Taggart just trying to win.
Yep.
And you see here again, good presence in the pocket. He goes north and south and gets the first down.
So the clock stopped to set the ball. Now it winds. Flowers, short pass, dropped by the tight end Price, who's been their best weapon in the pass game. But that's a big drop. It's 2nd and 10.
Come on, senior captain. Good throw. I like what we're seeing out of Quentin Flowers right now. He's got to catch that ball, step out of bounds, give him a 2nd down and 5. This game is still not over with 2:51. You can score, you can onside kick. That's what the Bulls coaches are telling them, and they have to learn to try to win in this situation.
Yeah, first things first, you got to get into the end zone. 2nd and 10, Flowers. Flowers throws middle. Oh, big hit, incomplete. My goodness. Regis Ball, who's made a couple of big plays. Intended for Bronson. Let's take a listen and a look. Ouch.
Great play. Patient, sat in the middle of the field, curl in route, timed it perfectly. It was a legal hit.
Yep.
Really good football player in Regis Ball.
Legal hit. We've already had 2 Memphis players penalized for targeting in the first half.
Regis is a 5-year senior. You see seniors step up late in these ball games.
3rd and 10. Flowers in the shotgun. Memphis perhaps going to bring a little pressure. Throw short, and falling down is Darius Tice. So it's 4th down, and any hopes that South Florida has rest on their ability to get 8 yards and keep this drive going, and they got to do it quickly.
And you've got to do anything to get the ball past the sticks. You can't throw it away. You can't take a sack. The ball has to go up with some chance for you to get either a pass interference call or catch the ball.
And you got to do it a little faster than this, in my opinion. Now they burned a timeout, so they wasted all that time, and then they call a timeout. That was not handled perfectly. Timeout. We'll be back right after 5 Pacific on ABC, also live on Watch ESPN. 2 undefeated teams, 2 playoff contenders. Maybe not quite an elimination game, but close to it for both those teams. 4th down here. Flowers, they need 8 to keep their hopes alive. Flowers scrambling. He's got to go downfield. He's in trouble. Quentin Flowers buying time. Heaves it downfield, and it's incomplete. Knocked down with a flag thrown. Wow. Chris Morley, and I thought he timed that pretty well. Flowers, a miraculous job in keeping the play going, and that penalty is going to be against Memphis.
Defense, number 17, automatic first down.
Wow, what a break for the Bulls. 15 yards and a first down, and those faint hopes with 2 minutes still to go are alive for the Bulls. Yeah,
Chris got there a little bit early. I think Chris has played an outstanding game tonight. He's been very physical, but he did get there just a little bit early. Really good job by the officials, because that is a key call to keep the Bulls alive in this ball game.
I'm with you. Watching it real time, I thought he timed it well. Watching the replay, a fraction of a second early. Now whistles.
First charge, timeout, Memphis.
And timeout for Memphis. Another 30-second break. Last chances for South Florida when we come back. Time for tonight's Game Track, brought to you by Straight Talk. Paxton Lynch, 19 of 32, 305 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He keeps that streak alive. He has not thrown an interception all year long, and he and Memphis in position to stay undefeated. Quentin Flowers going for the end zone. It is incomplete.
I've been really impressed with Paxton Lynch tonight. He's everything that we were told. He's big, he's smart. He kept his cool when things weren't going well. He took the game over in the 3rd quarter when he needed to. He's very confident. He's got poise in the pocket. He sees the field well, and he can run. So he has it all.
I mean, you can see why. We talked to a lot of scouts, a lot of people around college football, and the name Colin Kaepernick comes up. And you can see the lanky arms, the long legs, the long strides, those tools that you're talking about. I mean, I think it's a pretty legit comparison. South Florida down the middle, and what a catch! Touchdown! Elkanah Dillon So the Bulls aren't done yet. Man, that was a heck of a catch. 23 yards. I think he grabbed it one-hand style.
You got to love the fact that Willie Taggart's football team is still competing. And once again, what a great drive by Quentin Flowers. He gets a presence in the pocket. He throws to a guy off the bench, basically, that makes a tremendous catch in Dillon, who was hurt and didn't play against Maryland last week. But these things are going to give this offense enough confidence to start playing better. Minute 49 left. You've got 2 timeouts.
Extra point up, and it is good. So it's 24-17 Memphis with just the 2 time. I mean, I think maybe no matter what, but with the 2 timeouts, I think we'll see an onside kick coming from South Florida. But at least that redshirt freshman, that kid's got a chance to be a good one. He had 126 yards in his college debut. He missed last week against Maryland. I think that's a player we'll see going forward, more involved in the pass game for South Florida.
Yeah, what a great catch. Gives them a chance to win, but it also gives Quentin Flowers so much confidence that he took that team the length of the field to score, to cut it back to 7, and he also overcame a holding penalty, and he made something work on 3rd down and long where he had to scramble forever. Smart play, throwing it up. It also shows you Memphis knocks that ball down. This one's already over. Now they still have hope.
Well, we saw great execution on an onside kick from Memphis earlier in the game. Now Emilio Nadelman. And you got to think this is coming. Memphis will have the hands team up front. They'll have basically everybody up front. Well, the Bulls on the sideline, they haven't given up.
Yeah, Willie Taggart's got to be excited about his kids fighting till the end.
They also have 3 kickers, Coach, out on the field. 3 of their kickers are lined up almost in a triangle formation. Who's going to kick it? That guy. And off the hands of Memphis, but out of bounds. Not bad, but there was nobody there to recover. So Memphis will have it, and likely that will end the game, although they still have the 2 timeouts South Florida does. We were talking about the comparison with Paxton Lynch and Colin Kaepernick, his days at Nevada, now the 49ers quarterback. I think you can see the similarities, Coach.
I think they are very, very similar. Neither one of them were highly recruited out of high school. They were both at programs that didn't get a lot of attention, and they got better and better and better. And now we see what Colin Kaepernick has become, and I can see Paxton Lynch doing the same thing.
And Paxton Lynch, who grew up just across the state of Florida from here in Tampa, back home in his home state, and I'm sure very proud that they are close to getting a win and moving to 5-0. It's not over yet. Second half, he's been solid.
Yes, and Memphis has not had a 4-0 start since 1961 with Coach Smith, so they're excited about Coach Billy Murphy trying to make this work.
Well, there's a timeout after the short carry on 1st down, so it'll be 2nd down. South Florida stops the clock.
South Florida.
Quick break for us, and we'll come back.
This timeout will be
right
30 seconds in duration.
Welcome back with about 1:44 left here. Memphis up 24-17. Paxton Lynch looking to get the Tigers to 5-0 on the season. And Lynch is from Florida, played on the other side of the state, but didn't get a whole lot of attention in high school. In fact, it wasn't until an All-Star game when he threw for 237 yards and 3 TDs that people started to take notice of the quarterback. In fact, an article about that game landed on the desk of Memphis coach Justin Fuente shortly after he took over the job at Memphis. So he sent an assistant down to check on Lynch. The guy came back and said, yeah, he's pretty good. Without ever seeing him throw in person, they offered Lynch a scholarship to Memphis. They were pretty desperate at the quarterback position, but they saw him play in several other positions, saw what an athlete he was, and knew that in some way he could definitely help the Tigers. So it's kind of funny when you talk to Coach Fuente about recruiting Lynch, he just laughs because there really wasn't any recruiting of him.
Well, and we talked to Paxton's high school coach, Alan Johnson, who's now is coaching a different high school in Deltona, Florida. We talked to him this week about Lynch, and he said, well, look, we had no wide receivers. We ran the wing T. He was a good athlete. We didn't showcase him in our offense, but we all knew he was really, really special. Handoff on 3rd down. South Florida used their final timeout. They stopped Sam Kraft here. So now the clock will wind, and Memphis is going to have to punt the ball back. So South Florida will get the ball back with somewhere in the neighborhood of 45, maybe 50 seconds still on the clock. They won't have any timeouts. They would love to have the one they had to use to get a play call in on their last offensive drive, and they wasted some time there as well. Looking back on it, those seconds, that timeout looked very, very important, but they have a chance to at least get their hands on the ball one more time.
They do. They have a last-second shot here. Justin Fuente will let the clock run out so he can move it back and punt. But you've got to give Justin Fuente a whole lot of credit. Willie Taggart's doing a great job of trying to get this program where Memphis is. Justin started at 4-8, 3-9. He took over some core of really good players from Larry Porter, who was a Memphis graduate that came back. And all of a sudden, he gave Larry that credit. And now he continues to build till he has the third largest winning streak in college football.
Yeah, and the key to the whole thing in a lot of ways, he's done a great job in other ways, but the key to the whole thing was Paxton Lynch and getting him on campus. And I mean, they admitted there was a little bit of luck involved, but getting him, the development of their quarterback, trying to survive here tonight in South Florida. The game is not over. It's Nick Jacobs trying to pin South Florida deep. Fair catch signal by Johnson. South Florida's got a long way to go, 92 yards or so before they get the ball. We'll send it back to the studio on Adnan.
Thank you, Dave. Just a friendly reminder, there's a double header of college football action. Bryant Sheriffs and UConn will look to try to knock off BYU. That's coming up next. UConn and BYU just 8 minutes from now. Dave, over to you.
All the reminders from Adnan are friendly. They're always friendly reminders. Here's the situation for South Florida. They've used their last timeouts. They're down by a touchdown. 44 seconds to go. They need to go 92 yards. Flowers will throw, and it is caught. Trying to get out of bounds. They do. A short gain, but they do stop the clock. That's Elkanah Dillon, who caught the touchdown that kept South Florida alive in this one. They're going to have to get some bigger chunks than that, though.
They are good protection. They're trying to get it near midfield with a Hail Mary shot at the end.
Flowers with a little shoulder fake. He's going deep middle. He's going deep sideline. It is intercepted. Regis Ball with the interception. He has had a big game for Memphis, and that's the capper. That will do it. The Tigers will stay undefeated and survive a heck of a challenge from South Florida. That interception will effectively end the game.
Well, Regis Ball again, 5-year senior. He jumps up to a high point. It was a good throw. It had a chance, but he jumps up. He's got good focus on the ball. He tucks it away and brings it down, and that'll end the game.
Well, what a play. And he definitely held that ball. Definitely an interception. Paxton Lynch one more time can come out into victory formation, take a knee, and this will be the final snap of the game.
Most fun formation for a coach or players in a ball game. Give Willie Taggart's team credit. They fought till the end. Memphis continues to be a team that may play in the end.
And I think what you said, Coach, is worth repeating. Memphis is just a step or two ahead of South Florida. I think the Bulls, the pieces are there for them to get there, but they're not quite as far ahead as Justin Fuente and company. Now a bye week for Memphis, a chance to get ready with an extra week of preparation for Ole Miss, regional rival, top 10 team, SEC team, one of the best teams in the country. What a game, one of the biggest games Memphis football's ever had when they suited up again.
I totally agree. Really good facilities here. Willie's doing a tremendous job recruiting. He's even making the 6 counties around here like an in-state area for him. Each year he gets better players. I know he's got some transfers in for next year. They played Florida State down to the wire. They play Memphis down to the wire. They are getting closer.
Well, the victorious coach Justin Fuente down on the field with Allison Williams.
Coach, your defense comes up with the interception to seal the win. How would you describe their performance in the second half?
Well, I was awfully proud of them. We had guys going down left and right, and we're playing 2s and 3s out there, but they continued to battle, and they've been a little bit maligned here lately, and it was a really good team win for them to step up and play well.
For your team, you improved to 5-0. The last 4 wins, you've all had to come from behind in. What have you seen with your team, how they respond with their backs against the wall?
Well, we've got a resilient group. They've been through a lot, not just this year, but just through the process of trying to build this program. And They've got a lot of heart and character. I'd like for us to play a little smarter when we start and a little better when we start, but they certainly are resilient.
Coach Fuente, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, Allison and Justin Fuente, thanks to both of them. Memphis can celebrate. They are 5-0. A win here in Florida for Paxton Lynch and company. For Mac Brown and Allison Williams, Dave Fleming saying so long here from Tampa. College football scoreboard is next.